back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Man, before we get started, I just have to say thank you so much for all the awesome comments in my last video. Man, we almost hit right around 1,000 comments, and 99.9 of them were positive. It was really great reading all of them, and I assure you guys, I did read all of them. I'm sorry I can't respond to every single one, but then again, I wouldn't really have time to make these videos either. So anyway, thank you so much. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, today I wanted to talk about a brand I love and I think gets a little overlooked, and you guys might call me crazy, but that brand is Breguet. Now, of course, before we get started, we have to do the customary wristwatch check. Now, today I'm wearing Panerai Luminor Daylight, not the Marina, because the Marina is the manual line, and this is the automatic chronograph, and I've got it on a distressed Panerai strap. I haven't worn this watch in a really long time, and I'm not sure why. I go through these phases where, sometimes I just forget a few of the watches in my watch box, and they get ignored. But this one's been on my wrist for the past couple of days, and I'm really enjoying it. So, Breguet. What do I mean by they don't get enough love? Well, first, a little bit about the history of Breguet. Breguet is one of the oldest watchmakers, along with Vacheron Constantin, that's been around since 1735. Well, Breguet has been around since 1775. And it's famous for inventing a lot of things in the watch industry. The founder of Breguet, Abraham Louis Breguet, invented the tourbillon, I believe in 1810. Breguet is also famous for their work in guilloche, the famous Breguet hands, which used to be named palm hands, which is apple in French, but now people call them Breguet hands, Breguet numerals. There's a lot of DNA in watches today that can be kind of established with Breguet, and Breguet was also created one of the most complicated wristwatches of all time, and I say one of them because Vacheron Constantin actually just one-upped them a little while ago, but when Breguet created the Marie Antoinette watch, the pocket watch, it was the most complicated watch ever created. Now, yes, Breguet is now currently part of the Swatch Group, and they were sold quite a few times between the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but as of 1999, Breguet is part of the Swatch Group. Now, when I think of Breguet, I think of, doesn't get much better than that. I think of opulence, I think of excellence, I think of the purveyors of watches to the Russian royal family. I think of history. Did you guys know no more fictional characters in books and movies, have worn a watch than a Breguet? What do I mean? The most well-known watch in fiction, at least in novels and movies, is a Breguet. Not a Rolex, not a Patek Philippe. And there's actually a whole list. If you go to the Breguet's Wikipedia article, you can see all the fictional characters that have worn a Breguet on the wrist, which talks about the status symbol that is Breguet. But I feel in today's era, 2017, they're not really kind of living up to their name. I don't want to say through no fault of their own, because obviously if they're not living up to their name, they've got something to do with that. But I don't know, we're going to explore this together. When we think of the ultimate luxury watch, the ultimate, you probably think Patek Philippe. Some of you really high-end watch nerds might even think Philippe Dufour, FP Journe. Some people might even say Audemars Piguet or Vacheron Constantin, the other two brands in the Holy Trinity. But very rarely do we hear about Breguet. And I want to talk about that for a second, because I think it should be. Now, full disclosure, I may be a little biased, because Breguet is the watch that got me into watches. It was the first watch I fell in love with, and I'll put a picture right up here. This is the Breguet Classique that my brother showed me on Time Zone, must have been 11 or 12 years ago. that really got me into watches. So I have an affinity for the brand because it's because of Breguet that I started working in watches, and it's, because of Breguet that Federico Talks Watches essentially exists, at least partially. So, yeah, full disclosure, there is that. But when I think of a truly luxury watch, I think of details. As they say, the devil's in the details. And what is luxury? To me, when I think of luxury, I think of, things that aren't necessarily part of the function, but are, go one step further. And details, exactly that. Now, Breguet makes some of the most beautiful coin-edged cases. And by the way, guys, here I'm talking about Breguet Classique and Breguet Tradition. Yes, they make the Type 20, but that is not finished quite to the same level as the rest. It's a fantastic watch, it's historical, but here particularly I'm talking about their dress watches. You have the coin-edged cases, which are beautiful. You have the beautiful guilloche dials, and I don't know anybody that does better guilloche than Breguet. And if it's not guilloche, it's Grand Feu enamel dials, those very, very shiny enamel hand-painted dials. You have those beautiful Breguet hands. You have complications like the moon phase. Whenever Breguet does a moon phase, they draw the face on the moon, which is kind of like a shout out to the past, the way they used to do it. I was speaking to my good friend Mike B the other night, and he put it perfectly. He said, Federico, that looks like a Baroque piece of art. And you know what? It is, because Breguet did not skip any part of the watch. I mean, you can see from the pictures up here, even the case backs, if they're not see-through, and if they're see-through, they're beautiful, but even the case backs have that kind of coin-edge squiggly pattern. And it's all these little details, all these going one step further, that really make Breguet the ultimate, or one of, I'm not going to say the ultimate, but one of the ultimate luxury watchmakers for me. Now, not everybody has my taste, because we all know I'm a little flashier in my taste, but, luxury for me is excess. It's something that's not necessary. It's hedonism. It's details. And Breguet is the ultimate in details. Now, Patek Philippe, beautiful watches. I'd love to own one. I'm not taking anything away. Movement-wise, they certainly have made more high complications than Breguet. Breguet actually uses a lot of in-house movements, but also a lot of Frédéric Piguet movements, which are now called Manufacture Blancpain, because Swatch Group bought them. So Breguet is not a fully in-house brand. Fair enough. But Patek Philippe, which is, I find their pieces a little boring. Would I wear them? Yeah, I love a lot of the Calatravas, I love a lot of the Nautiluses, but they're so austere, they're so plain. I find them almost a little restrained, like Patek Philippe is in the closet, whereas Breguet is shouting from the rooftops, I'm a luxury watch, take a look at me, while Patek Philippe has that level of finishing, it absolutely does, it kind of hides it in its plain, gentlemanly manner, like it doesn't want to be garish. But where's the fun in that, guys? If you're spending that much money, I almost want it to be garish. The same with JLC. JLC does make steel watches, so it's a little different than Breguet, who reserves, steel for their sports lines. But I just find these watchmakers nowadays to be a little plain. The true spirit of luxury, to me, is in a brand like Breguet. Even FP Journe with their finishing. Some of the nicest engraved movements I've ever seen have been through Breguet. So when I think of Breguet, I think of the crazy history, what they've done for watchmaking, the fact that they're still as hedonist and excessive in their details as ever, that I can actually see, if royalty was still a real thing today, I can see it on the wrists of kings and queens. Whereas Patek is almost a little meh. Now, guys, please don't lynch me in the comments. Of course I like Patek Philippe. I just want to know what you think. I like the fact that Breguet is so out there. And I don't understand why they don't get as much love as they do. Because when people go out to buy a watch, I've worked watch retail for a while, and even when you talk on the forums, everybody's grail watch is a Patek Philippe or an Audemars Piguet, but you rarely see, people talk about Breguet in the same fashion, and I just don't understand why. And actually, guys, this is my favorite Breguet of all time. I'll put a picture right up here. Look how beautiful it is. It's a little abstract. It doesn't quite have the balance on the dial, but look at the details. The beautiful moon phase, the very long central second hand, the extremely long, almost excessively long power reserve, the guilloche, or actually, no, this one is the enamel version, excuse me. It's absolutely stunning. And I think this brand deserves to be talked about a little bit more, especially when, in the pre-owned market, you can pick them up for quite a bit of a heftier discount than a lot of their competitors, for the simple fact that they're not talked about all that much. Anyway, guys, what do you think about Breguet? Am I just going nuts? Is it just my bad taste? Leave a comment in the comment section below. And also, guys, don't forget to check me out on Instagram. That's at Federico Talks Watches. Link in the description below as well. And to like and subscribe. That way you don't miss any of these videos. Also, I gotta say it again, thank you so much for the support. And, thank you for sticking around for another episode of Federico Talks Watches. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.